Welcome back to what's planned to be the second part of the great plant out. If you watched the previous episode, you'll see we've already got the peas and the celery in place, and also the 3 beds along here and the 2 remaining there, they're all prepared, ready to receive the plants. Bit of a change this year, as I've said before, that quite a few of the beds have been shut down for this year, temporarily that is, because I want to do maintenance on them. Anyway, looking at these beds here, we've had another drop of rain overnight, and the forecast again says we've got intermittent showers, so we're going to have to work around it. The first thing I want to do is try and get the Brassicas sorted out. So they're over there all grouped up. Luckily I've got my trusty crib sheet here with my numbers on, so I'm going to get the Brassicas out, sort them out into the different types, and we'll go from there. I mentioned earlier that I'm in unknown territory this year, growing the Brassicas particularly. One, I'm planting them much closer together than I usually do because I've got less space. And secondly, I'm growing them in the same area as I did last year, and that does increase the risk of getting clubroot. I haven't prepared the bed as usual like I do, but I'm just going to have to see what we've got. Anyway, I'll quickly run you through what we've got to plant out. First of all, we've got the Calabrese, the Iron Man. We've got 11 of those. We've got some Brussels sprouts. Now normally I'll grow Crispus, which I still am going to do, but I'm trying a new variety as well this year, and this one's called Brendan. I've only got 4 of those plants just in case they don't come up to a standard. Then we've got the cauliflower Clapton, got 8 of those. A cauliflower called Zaragoza, I've got 4 of those. Brussels sprouts, as I said before, they're my favourites, called Crispus, then we've got 12 of them. My old favourite, the dog cabbage, the greyhound, we've got 4 of those. And bringing up the rear, we've got the Swede called Helena, and I've got 7 of them. So let's have a look at the ground. For the newer growers amongst us, once you start growing Brassicas, that's your cauliflowers, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, Calabrese, stuff like that, you'll sooner rather than later come across the term clubroot. This unfortunately is a disease that Brassicas usually get, and what it is, it's something what goes into the root of the plant, and it forms like a big knuckle onto the roots. And what the typical symptoms of the plant will look sick. Sometimes it won't even grow, and the worst case of all, the plant dies. And this is something what's in the soil, and once you get in the soil, it can take years and years to get out of it. In history, there was products on the market which helped combat the problem, and the thing I used was a thing called Militox, which was a drench into the soil, and it killed all the spores. Problem with that, it killed most of the other things in there and all, including probably the earthworms. Very, very similar to Jay's fluid. Currently at the moment, I usually use something called Perlka, which is a pelleted product, and you sprinkle that onto the ground. Usually I do mine about 4 weeks before planting out. And what happens with that, once it gets wet with the rain or actual watering, the pellet then goes into the soil and it converts to hydrated lime. Now lime is a great combator against the clubroot. I haven't had a chance to do my Perlka on the beds this year, so I was late fetching the covers off, but what I will do, once I actually prepare the hole to receive the plant, I'll put a handful of garden lime in there, and that'll do its best. Again, for the new growers amongst us, you'll notice that I'm treading all over the bed. Now normally you wouldn't do this because it damages the soil, compresses it and makes it difficult for the plants to grow. But in the case of Brassicas, they actually like a nice compact soil. And if you see, this is where the Brussels sprouts are going to go. I've also got sticks up, these are metal poles, and it's a good idea to tie the plant in once it gets a certain height, because they reckon with the Brussels sprouts in particular, if they get windrock, it can actually cause the buttons, the sprouts, to blow, and what happens then, the leaves just open up and you don't get a nice compact sprout. I'm just starting the holes out in here with this ball planter. You can of course use a trowel if you want, but because I've got it in the deep root cells, I'm just going to make this a bit deeper, and they say it also makes it easier as well. Right, now we've got all our holes in place, we'll see about planting our first Brassica. As I said before, I hadn't pre-treated the soil, so I'm going to give the hole a generous dusting of garden lime. If you haven't touching this, make sure you do wear protection on your hands, because it can burn some people. And you just plant the Brassica down into the middle there. With Brassicas, if they have gone a bit leggy, you can plant them much deeper. Go just above where the first leaf starts. You can take the soil level more or less up to there. Anyway, so that's in there. As you can see, also, it's got a decent root ball on it. I do like to keep the Brassicas fairly root bound when they're in the pots. So I'll just top that up with the excess soil we had from the holes we extracted. And once that's in there, then you can give them a good firming in. Usually you don't experience any pests at all with the Brassicas. You might get the odd caterpillar and that coming around, but you can actually buy collars to go around the root of the plant. It's just got like a slit in which joins right the way up and stops them, or should do, laying eggs, but I don't bother with them. Right, that's in there. I'm going to finish the rest off, and unless anything spectacular happens, I'll bring you back when all the Brassicas are planted out. Right, we've got the Brassicas in, as many as I'm going to do this year. I'll just quickly run you through. I'll say I'll put the net on partially, but right along the back we've got 5 Brussels sprouts, 5 in the next bed and 5, a total of 15. I think there's 12 Crispus and 3 called Brendan. Then in this bed here we got 12 cauliflowers, there's 8 Clapton and 4 Zaragoza. And then in the next bed we've got 10 Iron Man Calabrese. We've got 4 of my favourite greyhound, the dog cabbage. And along the front here we've got 7, them are the Eleanor, the Swede. I know this is going to be a weird one, but I've got nowhere else to put it. I've got a courgette in here. I think that's called all green bush, and so there's a bit of space. I've still got some gap along here, but I might utilise that with another plant yet, but as of yet I'm just going to leave it as it is. And down the bottom, of course, you saw I'd planted the peas and also the celery. So that's these 3 beds done for this year. I'm just going to give them a little water in and get the net on. Well, that task list, the job list, is definitely getting shorter. Next thing on the block is to get the outdoor tomatoes sorted. First of all, I'm going to do a stock check. Well, that didn't take long to do. On the left there we've got 4 Sweet Million. Next we've got 5 Nagina. And as usual we've got a glut. It's a Crimson Crush, and we've got 12 of them. I think what I'm going to do is put 4 of each variety out on the main bed. The first plants to go in are going to be these, the Sweet Million, and these are the little cherry type tomatoes. Now, because these are in 1 litre pots, they're too big actually to use the bulb planter. So what I do use is my small little border spade here. And the soil what comes out, I then mix in some bloodfish and bowen, and that helps feed the plant while it's getting established. So we've got the 12 tomato plants in now. These 4 along here are Sweet Million. The 4 down the centre are Nagina, and the 4 down that end there are my favourites, the Crimson Crush. So I've put bloodfish and bowen in the soil, but I've also given them a good drenching with liquid comfrey. Now that should set them well on the way. I've also tied them into these poles. Do remember that if you're putting tomatoes out, because the wind's been getting round now, they'll snap them quite easily. So that's about it. Down the middle I'm going to be planting me beetroot. Whether I'll get round to that today, or I don't know, but the main thing is another one off the list. So with the tomatoes in now, the last big planting out job is going to be the onions. But as usual, first of all, we need to do a stock check. Well, the plan was to go a little bit easier with the onions this year due to the space restrictions, but it didn't quite work out like that. Just looking on my list now, the Ventos, I've got 45. Long Red Florence, I've got 78. Illista, I've got 48. And the Walla Walla, which is a new one for me this year, I've got 24 of those. So I'm going to grab me a coffee now, fresh bit of paper, and work out what's going where. That's the first bed of onions in. I must say they went in quite quickly, very happy with those. Just run you through what we've got. We've got 4 rows of Vento, there's 12 in a row, so that's a total of 48. And then we've got 3 rows, no sorry, another 4 rows of Illista, there's one short on the end of there, so that's 47 we've got. And then right on the end of here we've got 23, there's 12, there's one short on the end of that, and these are a variety called Walla Walla, new variety. Now all that's left is this bed here, and I've got some long red florals to go in there, and the remaining space will be filled up with the leeks. Well, that's the second onion bed done there. There's 76 onions there, those are the long red florals, and I've also managed to get my leeks in, there's 60 here. And these are the Musselburgh. Amazing, when I was bodging the holes in for the leeks, it went down very easy a few times, and I found out there's a mole tunnel underneath, but we'll see how they go anyway. I have watered everything in. So with the 2 onion beds planted, that's about it for the big jobs. That list is definitely getting smaller. Next up for me is going to be a first for the channel again, and that's trying to grow the parsnips in the deep containers, the ones I use for the carrots. But I'm going to save that for the next episode, so why not come along and join me. That's it for this one. Many thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye for now.